Good morning, Kinder Scholars. Today we're going to be doing our Unit 8, Day 2 practice. This is meant for Tuesday, April 21st. So again, we'll be using from our kindergarten reading comp packet listed April 20th through May 15th, Unit 8. We're going to be using the next worksheet, which says Kinder Reading Comp Unit 8, First Grade Fiction Elements, Guided Practice, Day 2. And it starts looking like this, though, with the story Hammer Time. Yesterday, we reviewed, scholars, what characters were and what the settings were. And today, we're going to continue to review that. We're going to review that because that's something that we've already talked about in kindergarten, but it's also going to be something that we need to know to help get our brains ready for first grade. So before we jump into our worksheet, let's go ahead and review what a character is and what the setting is, so that we're ready to begin. All right, the characters are the people or the animals the story is about. We do have an anchor chart right there at the bottom. It says the characters on the corner up there in green, and Miss T has drawn a boy, a girl, and a kitty cat. Characters can either be the people or the animals in the story. So let's go ahead and do our chant to help us remember that. The characters are the people or the animals the story is about. One more time. The characters are the people or the animals the story is about. One more time. The characters are the people or the animals the story is about. If Miss T was writing a story right now about what she was doing, I would say that I'm sitting in my dining room with London and Mingus, and I'm teaching you. That would be my story. The characters would be Miss T because I'm the person, and there would be London, and over there is Mingus. I don't know if you can see him, but he's laying down right there saying hi. So those are our characters, me, London, and Mingus, because that's who I'm writing the story about. Now, let's go ahead and read what the setting is. The setting is when or where the story takes place. So the setting is when, the time. It could be whatever month. So maybe it's in January, February, March, April, May, all the way up to December. Maybe you write a story saying it's Tuesday. Maybe you write a story saying it happened in the morning or at nighttime. But the setting is when, the time, and where. We do this to make a house, but guess what? The setting can also be outside. It could be in the car. It could be at a store. It could be even in our own classroom back at CASA. So the setting is where the story takes place. So let's do our chant one more time to help us remember. The setting is when or where the story takes place. Going back to that story that Miss T said, if I wrote a story about me, London, and Mingus, doing this video right now in my dining room, my setting is my home, my dining room, and I might even say something about it being in the morning, since I always say good morning to you. So those are some examples of setting and character. Now that we're warmed up, let's go ahead and jump into our worksheet. We see that our worksheet is very similar to what we did yesterday, with the difference being that instead of multiple choice, we're going to write in the answers. So we will be phonetically spelling it as well as trying to find the evidence in the story. You can either copy your evidence answer, or you can use the sounds that you hear to help you write the answer. All right, let's go ahead and jump into number 1. All right, number 1 story is called Hammer Time. All right, it was Ted's first time using a hammer. He tried to hammer a nail into wood for a school project. The nail began to bend and mess up the entire thing. Ted said, "I can't do this." His teacher, Mr. Johnson, said it was too early to give up, so Ted tried again and again. Finally, the nail went into the wood. "You were right," said Ted. "I just had to keep trying." When Ted left school that day, he felt so proud of himself. Scholars, thinking about what you heard, where did the story take place? Number 1, ask us, where was Ted using the hammer? It gives us a sentence, Ted was using the hammer at, So we don't have to write the whole sentence. We just have to write where Ted was using the hammer at. We know that he was using the hammer for a school project, and we know he was talking to his teacher. If we go to the very last sentence at the bottom and we read that again, starting with the word when, it says, when Ted left school that day, he felt proud of himself. Where was Ted? Ted was at school. So we can go back and find the word school. Again, at the very bottom, when Ted left school. Go ahead and underline that word. That is your evidence. And let's go ahead and sound it out for number 1. Ready? S, k, 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 k. C, ooh, 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 moon. What two phonograms say ooh, ooh for moon? O, O. And the last sound, ooh, L. So you should have written S-C-O-O-L. Again, you might notice that if you underline the evidence, you see another letter in there, and we didn't write that. That's okay. We're going to write the way that we hear the word, and that is perfectly fine at this point. Let's go to number 2. Number 2 asks us, what 2 characters are in the story? Okay. The 2 characters in the story were and So we have to think of the 2 character names. What was the first character's name that we know? Listen again to the story. It was Ted's first time using a hammer. Who did you hear? You heard Ted. Good. Let's keep going to see if we find the other answer. He tried to hammer a nail into the wood for a school project. The nail began to bend and mess up the entire thing. Ted, is that a new character? Say no way. We already know Ted. Said, I can't do this. His teacher, Mr. Johnson. Who was that character? Mr. Johnson. So our 2 characters are Ted and Mr. Johnson. Let's go ahead and write Ted on line 1. T, 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 E, D, 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 D. Next line, Mr. M, R, Johnson. J, 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 J. O. N, S, S. O. N. Okay. So the 2 characters are Ted and Mr. Johnson, which we've written their names. Let's go ahead and flip our paper over and we'll go to the story Tony's Game. Question number 3. All right, remember, we're listening for where, the setting, where the story is, and characters in the story. All right. It was Tony's first time playing with the Tigers. As he stepped onto the baseball field, he really wanted to show his team that he was a good player. Tony stepped up to the bat. After 5 pitches, he struck out. He was so horrible. He let his new team down. He dropped the bat. He put his head down on his knees. And then he saw Jess, Holly, and Francis waving from the bench. Great try, Jess said. You'll do better next time, Holly said. Welcome to the team, Francis said. Tony felt better about being on a team with people who cheered for him. His teammates cared more about having fun with him than winning the game. Tony got up, joined his team for the rest of the game. He helped cheer on his team, including those who did well and those who needed more practice. He felt great and had so much fun. Number 1 asks us, where was Tony when the story takes place? We see that it already wrote the sentence, so we just need to fill in the word. Ready? Tony was at the when the story took place. Scholars, think about what Ms. T said at the beginning of the story. Where was Tony? Listen again. It was Tony's first time playing with the Tigers. Shh. As he stepped onto the baseball field. Where did he step onto? He stepped onto the baseball field. Let's go ahead and try to find that evidence. Okay. It was Tony's first time playing with the Tigers. As he stepped on to the baseball field. Go ahead and underline those 2 words. Now, you can see the line for number 3 is kind of small. It's not very big. And we have to write baseball and field on that line. So go ahead and try to write as small as you can. If you run out of space, it's okay. You can just write it on top of the other words. Let's go ahead and sound out the word baseball. Ready? B, 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 A, S, S, B, 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 O, L. Next word, so leave a little bit of a space if you can. Field. F, E, L, D. All right. Now we're going to go to number 4. And number 4 says that what are the 2 characters that were waving from the bench? Well, scholars, we know that there were more than 2 characters waving from the bench, so you get to choose which 2 names you want. Let's go ahead and find who was waving from the bench. If you go to the very bottom of this page, it said, or it's on the very bottom of this paragraph, we're going to start with this word down. So if you count lines with me, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down on his knees. Then he saw Jess, Holly, and Francis waving from the bench. Scholars, who did we say were waving from the bench? We said Jess, Holly, and Francis. So we can underline those 3 names and you get to choose whichever ones you want. Again, we're right here on the 4th line of the first paragraph. We see Jess, Holly, and Francis. Go ahead and underline from Jess, Holly, and Francis and write 2 of the names. You might want to write Jess, you might want to write Holly, maybe Holly and Francis, maybe Jess and Francis. You get to pick 2 to write on number 4. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we finished with question number 4. We're going to turn the page. We're going to go to question number 5. Question number 5 has us using the story Gathering Acorns. Summer was over. The air was getting colder. Leaves were falling from the trees. All of the squirrel families were gathering acorns in the forest. They would save them for later. They knew that food would be hard to find when winter came. Chip and Gary were brother squirrels. As the 2 of them helped their family gather the acorns, they argued over who could collect the most. They both saw an acorn at the same time and ran to it. I saw it first, said one squirrel brother. No, I did, said the second squirrel brother. It's mine. They both held on to the acorn. Neither one would let go as they tugged back and forth on the acorn. Suddenly, the acorn slipped. It fell to the ground and landed near a little boy's feet. Hey, look at this big acorn, the boy said. He put it in his pocket and walked away with the acorn. The 2 squirrel brothers were very disappointed that their fight made them lose the big acorn. They promised to work together instead of fighting with one another. As the rest of the afternoon went on, the 2 brothers were able to collect more acorns than anyone else in the woods. They gathered enough for the whole winter and enough to share with all their squirrel neighbors. Number 5 asks, where were the squirrels gathering the acorns? The squirrels were gathering the acorns in the Think about where we said, listen again and see if you can find it. Summer was over. The air was getting colder. Leaves were falling from the trees. All the squirrel families were gathering acorns in the forest. They would save them for later. They knew that food would be hard to find when winter came. Scholars, I hope you were listening because Miss T told you where they're gathering the acorns. Go ahead and take a few seconds, turn and tell somebody next to you, the squirrels were gathering the acorns in the, and tell them the answer. Go. Okay, come back to Miss T. If you told somebody next to you that they were gathering acorns in the forest, you're absolutely right. They were gathering the acorns in the forest. Let's go ahead and write that for number 5. Sounding it out. F, or, corn. What phonogram says or, corn? O-R. So F-O-R, E, S, T. Number 6 asks, what were the names of the 2 brother squirrels? The 2 brother squirrels were named and and Let's continue reading. On to the second line right here. We're going to start right here so you can see we're down 1, 2, 3 on the fourth line. Chip and Gary were brother squirrels. Can't read it upside down. Let's do that again. Chip and Gary were brother squirrels. Who were brother squirrels? Chip and Gary. So we can underline that evidence right there on that fourth line. Chip and Gary. Let's go ahead and write Chip and Gary for number 6. Ready? Ch. What phonogram says chick? CH. Let's go ahead and write CH. I, P. Chip. Now the next one on the second line, Gary. G. G. R. Or A. R. E. Y. Or E. All right. So Chip and Gary. Go ahead and turn your paper over. We're going to go to number 7, Buddy the Bear. Buddy the Bear was an old teddy bear. Buddy the Bear began to fall apart. Buddy the Bear lost an arm. My Uncle James said not to be sad, that we could sew him back together. I took Buddy to my Uncle James's house. He helped me sew his arm back on, and then he helped me with his lost button. Buddy the Bear looked different than before, but it doesn't matter to me. I still love Buddy as much as the day I first saw him. Number 7, where did the girl take the bear to get fixed? She took the bear to get fixed. Let's listen again. Buddy the Bear was an old teddy bear. Buddy the Bear began to fall apart. Buddy the Bear lost an arm. My Uncle James said, do not be sad, that we could sew him back together. I took Buddy to my Uncle James's house. Where did she take the bear to get fixed? To her uncle's house. Let's go ahead and write that. U, N, C, L. Now let's write house. H, ow, loud. Ooh, what's 2 letters that ow for loud? O-U, S. Good. Number 8, who was the person who helped fix the bear? Blank helped fix the bear. Who was the person that helped fix the bear? Think about it. We've read it a couple times. What was his name? Turn and tell your partner, or a parent or a brother or sister, who helped her fix her bear. Buddy the Bear was an old teddy bear. Buddy the Bear began to fall apart. The bear lost an arm. My Uncle James said, do not be sad, that we could sew him back together. Turn and tell somebody who helped her fix the bear. All right, if you said that it was her Uncle James, you're absolutely right. Her uncle helped her fix the bear. So let's go ahead and write Uncle James. U, C, let's try that again. U, N, C, L. Now James, J, A, M, S. Good. Okay, let's turn our page over. And I do apologize, but it looks like we're again on number 8. So it seems like there's a little bit of a numbering error here. Just go ahead and disregard that. We're going to be reading the last story on this page, Mike Mouse and the Missing Cheese. Scholars, you might notice on this page, you're going to be choosing the answer. So you get a break from writing it and sounding it out. I hope that you enjoy that break, because it is quite hard to sound things out with you through a video. It's kind of silly. So let's go ahead and read the story and choose our answer. Mike Mouse stepped into the cheese museum. Detective Mouse here, he said. A mouse named Missy ran up to him. She was feeling very upset. I'm so glad you're here, she said. Someone stole our prized cheese. Mike Mouse saw a glass case in the middle of the room. The case was empty. Aha, he said. Did you keep the cheese in here? Missy Mouse nodded. Yes, it was here last night, but now it's gone. Mike Mouse looked at the case. He slowly walked around it. Mike Mouse found 2 clues. There was a big paw print on the glass, and there was also a white hair on the floor. I have found 2 clues, he said. Do not worry about your missing cheese. I will solve the case soon. Number 8 on the top asks us, where did the story take place? Did it take place A, at the cheese factory, B, at the at the cheese restaurant, C, at the cheese museum, or D, at the police station? Listen again. Mike Mouse stepped into the cheese museum. Detective Mouse here, he said. A mouse named Missy ran up to him. She was feeling very upset. Scholars, go ahead and choose where you think the story took place. What is our setting? A, the cheese factory, B, the cheese restaurant, C, the cheese museum, or D, at the police station. Go ahead and make your choice now. Okay, this one they try to trick you by putting cheese in front of everything. But you should have circled C, the cheese museum. That's where the story took place. Number 9, who were the 2 characters in the story? A, Mike and Minnie. B, Mike and Missy. C, Mike and cheese. Or D, Mike and missing. Listen again to the first 2 sentences. Mike Mouse stepped into the cheese museum. Detective Mouse here, he said. A mouse named Missy ran up to him. She was feeling very upset. I am so glad you're here, she said. Someone stole our prized cheese. Scholars, who did we say the 2 characters were? A, Mike and Minnie. B, Mike and Missy. C, Mike and cheese. Or D, Mike and missing. Go ahead and choose your answer now. Okay. If you said B, Mike and Missy, then you're absolutely right. They try to trick us again, but we're too smart, and we know that Mike and Missy are the 2 mice that we're talking about. All right, we are all done with our day 2 practice worksheet. Again, as you continue to read stories, watch any movies, see a TV show, even playing video games, continue to tell your parents who are the characters that you see or are talking about. Where's the story taking place? So parents, keep talking to your children about characters, the animals or people the story are about, and the setting, when or where the story is taking place, so that they can go ahead and keep that in their brains. I hope you have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.